today's video we are going to be doing a review of the international football results and the international break. So, of course the football season is over, but we did have a international break just conclude, and it was pretty good one actually. We had the conclusion of the Nations League, and we had some big results in terms of World Cup qualification for 2026, as we are now, I believe, officially just 1 year out till the World Cup in America, Canada and Mexico starts. So some nations have qualified, other nations is looking a bit ropes, but yeah, we're going to get into all of that in this video. A bit of a disclaimer, sorry if my voice sounds a little bit weird, I'm a little bit under the weather, but the grind does not stop. Anyways, let's get into it. So let's talk about some of the results that happen. We'll begin with the Nations League, then we'll move on to the World Cup qualification across all of the world. So the Nations League, we had the semi-finals, which was, first one was Germany versus Portugal, which ended 2-1 to Portugal. Conceição, Cristiano Ronaldo and Florent Wirtz with the goals, and yeah, it was actually a pretty good win for Portugal. Germany were very poor, if I'm being completely honest. Portugal definitely deserved a victory, Cristiano Ronaldo with another goal, and yeah, quite disappointing way for Germany to go out there, and in general Germany did not have a good window, but Portugal made it to the final, and the other semi-final was one of the best games of football I've seen in a long time. Spain 5, France 4. Absolutely insane game. To be fair, I mean, this scoreline suggests that it was a really close game. In reality, Spain were miles better and completely smacked France here, but France did manage to pull off a late comeback to give themselves a glimmer of hope. Mainly when Ryan Cherki came on, he was absolutely exceptional, but yeah, I mean, besides that spell, wow, Spain just absolutely destroyed France. Lamine Yamal, absolutely amazing as always, and yeah, France under Deschamps, I mean, honestly, it's crazy. Look at this front four. He's got Doué, Elise, Dembele and Mbappe, and this guy still is getting smacked up game in, game out. Honestly, I don't know how Deschamps is still in charge of France, but hey, it was a great game to watch as a neutral. But Spain made the final, where they did, of course, play Portugal in the final, and if we have a look at who came out on top, it was indeed Portugal who won on penalties. The game ended 2-2. It was a pretty good final, I will say. Ebden flowed, Nuno Mendes got a really nice goal, and overall was the man of the match in my opinion. Absolutely fantastic performance, completely locked up Lamine Yamal, adding to his collection of right wingers to lock up. He locked up Saka, Salah, now Yamal. Yeah, absolutely incredible from Mendes. And Ronaldo managed to get another goal as well. Ended 2-2, and Portugal won on penalties. I think Morata missed the penalty. I don't think it says, but yeah, Morata missed the final penalty, and Portugal win the Nations League, and that is their second time winning it. I think they won the last one, but I'm not too sure. But it definitely is the second time they've won it. And I actually put a poll up asking you guys, is the Nations League a major trophy? And most of you guys said actually no, but you guys were kind of split on it. My thoughts on it is, honestly, I view it more of like the Conference League, sort of, for like these bigger nations where, you know, the Conference League, like big teams, they don't really like care that much about the Conference League. Like, for example, Chelsea, we won it this year, right? But when we win the trophy, it's a nice feeling. It's a trophy, and it's nice for the players to get a trophy under their belt. I mean, the players, it probably means more to them than maybe the fans. And then for those smaller clubs, smaller nations, it means a lot more because, you know, we don't get this chance of getting a trophy under their belt for a long it's kind of the same thing here with the Nations League, where for the bigger nations, they don't necessarily care that much about a Nations League. Like, we're not gonna say, if Portugal lose, get knocked out in the World Cup group stages next year, no one's gonna be like, oh, but at least they won the Nations League. Like, no one really cares. But it's a trophy, and it's, I think, really good for the players. You saw the way they celebrated it, right? They really liked it. Ronaldo was like crying because it's a trophy to win for your national team, and not many players can say that they've won a trophy for their nation. And yeah, I think it's a nice moment. It's a trophy. Obviously, as I said, it's not like a Euros or a World Cup or anything, but it's something, right? And to be fair, I think it's actually really good preparation for the World Cup, because I've been a little bit skeptical of Portugal in recent years. I think in recent years Portugal have had a really good squad, but slightly underperformed at major tournaments. I'm skeptical on Roberto Martinez as a manager, but I think they've shown, all the big teams took it seriously, the Nations League, and they showed Portugal that they can compete with the big boys. They can beat a Germany, they can beat a Spain, which is really good preparation for the World Cup. Portugal, a nice moment for them winning the Nations League. And I will say in general, the Nations League produced some fantastic, really entertaining games. I wasn't the biggest fan of it when it was introduced, but I think overall it's actually been not too bad. Right, now let's move on to World Cup qualification. Let me just go to a country. We'll go to England, because, well, I've got a lot to say about England. So this was a pretty horrific window for us. So we started with a 1-0 win over Andorra in World Cup qualification, in a really, really turgid performance. I mean, it was so boring to watch. Honestly, I don't really know how we managed to get 4 XG. Like, watching it, it did not feel like we created that many chances. Yeah, it was really bad. I mean, against Andorra, 173rd in the world, you would be expecting a team of our quality, if we, want to be winning World Cups and stuff, to be putting them to the sword, really, winning 5, 6, 7-0. But it was really bad. I mean, the only good player was Noni Madueke, who I think actually gave a good account of himself this international window. But yeah, it was really poor. But look, hey, we got the win. And I was like, okay, maybe we can try and build upon that. We got the win at least, but then we follow it up with a absolute disastrous game. It was a friendly versus Senegal. We lost 3-1 at home to Senegal, and I believe it's the first ever time that England have lost to a African nation, which is kind of surprising. But I will say as well, full credit to Senegal, because they were exceptional. Honestly, they fully deserved it. It could have been a lot more, actually. Senegal were really good in this game, defensively solid, and they just hit us on the counter really well. Nicholas Jackson played really well, and yeah, overall, I was very impressed with Senegal, who, if they make the World Cup, who knows, maybe could have a little bit of a deep run. I think they were really good in this game. But from an England perspective, again, and yeah, with all due respect to Senegal, if we want to be winning World Cups, if we want to be going far in a year's time, we cannot be losing to Senegal. It simply can't really be happening. And it's not even a result which I'm too mad about. It's more the performances over the last 2 fixtures against Andorra and Senegal. 2 teams who we should be expected to beat, and we were deservedly beaten against Senegal, and we deservedly only won 1-0 against Andorra. Thomas Tuchel, a disastrous window for him, and he has a lot of work to do. But I'm not going to get on him too much. I think he experimented this window in terms of he gave a lot of people like chances, like Conor Gallagher started, Kyle Walker was in this game and was awful, and all of that stuff. But yeah, we need massive improvements. Now, I'm not going to say, we're cooked for the World Cup, because, I mean, I remember the last Euros we lost at home to Iceland, the last game before the Euros, right? So, it doesn't necessarily mean that much losing these games. A tournament is very different to a friendly versus Senegal, but it's not ideal, and like I said, we have a lot of work to do. I think it's always been a problem for us in the last few years, particularly on the Southgate. Low blocks and teams who sit back against us, we just have no invention, we have no creativity, we don't really have tactics to break them down, and we're still showing that under Thomas Tuchel. Granted, he hasn't had much time in the job to work with the players and work on this, but I really hope it does improve, because if it doesn't, then yeah, I'm not really feeling too confident going into 2026 World Cup. But anyways, let's talk more about the World Cup qualification results in Europe. So let's go through the tables. So this one has not started yet, neither this one, or this one, or this one. Okay, there we go. Finally we get to a group that actually has started. And yet Finland are currently top of this group after beating Poland 2-1, and the Polish national team is in absolute turmoil. So we lost to Finland, and Robert Lewandowski came out publicly and said he would not play again for the Polish national team unless their manager left. Yeah, a pretty crazy statement to make. I don't know what the hell is going on there. Like, if someone is Polish, please let me know in the comments below. Maybe you can explain what is going on there. I don't know what issue he has with the manager, and some weird drama going on here, but they lost to Finland, and yeah, it's looking tough for Poland in terms of making the next World Cup. Netherlands had a fantastic window. They beat Finland 2-0 and then beat Malta 8-0. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like with England, against a team like Andorra, I'm expecting us to pull in a result like this, which the Netherlands did. 8-0. Memphis Depay became the joint top goal scorer in Dutch football history, which is crazy when you consider the amounts of amazing Dutch strikers they've had. You know, Van Basten, Kluivert, Van Persie, all of these guys, Huntelaar, and Memphis Depay. Out of all of them, is their joint top scorer now, which is mental. But yeah, very good window for the Dutch, who starting to do pretty well, and I think have done pretty well in recent years under Ronald Koeman. If we go to this group, this was actually really interesting. Bosnia are 3-3 right now. They just about beat San Marino 1-0, and they beat Cyprus 2, and Romania in the other game. Austria comfortably dispatched San Marino, and they're hot on their tails. Romania, though, yeah, they lost to Austria, and it looks like they probably are not going to make it out of this group. It looks like Bosnia and Austria are going to be fighting for that other spot. But this group was where the main drama happened, because there was a crazy result here as Norway smashed Italy 3-0 in this game. It was an absolute battering. I mean, Italy were completely dominated. I don't think Italy had a shot until like the 72nd minute, right? Like, it was absolute annihilation. They were 3-0 down at half time. Antonio Nusa was running riot on the wings. Haaland and Sorloth also scored. I mean, Italy were absolutely picked apart in this game, and as a result, Luciano Spalletti has been sacked as Italy manager. There was a little bit of a weird scenario though, where Spalletti was sacked as manager after this game, but then still had to take charge of the game for Italy against Moldova, which was just really weird. Even though he was already sacked, he had to take charge, and they did win that game. But oh boy, I mean, even this game, they let Moldova have 18 shots. 18 shots. Moldova, 154th in the world, had 18 shots and 1.05 XG against them. Like, absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, the Italian national team now are in real deep trouble, and it looks like they are on the verge of not qualifying for a third consecutive World Cup. Absolutely crazy, because Norway have won 4 out of 4 games. It looks like they'll take top spot. Italy now have to win every single one of their games, and by some margin as well, because their goal difference, they have -1 and Norway have +11. So Italy pretty much have to just smack every team in their remaining games like 4-5-0 in order to get the top spot. Otherwise they're going through to the playoff round, and we all know what they're like in the playoff round, right? So they're in some real danger. Spalletti is gone. Claudio Ranieri was the first choice. He rejected them, and I believe now they're trying to get Gattuso, which is just, I mean, this guy has done nothing in his managerial career. I mean, he was a great player, but it's a real poor appointment in my opinion. And if Italy miss a third successive World Cup, wow, that is just extremely shocking. And yeah, they're in some real turmoil right now, Italy, and they really need to sort themselves out. But shout out to Norway, who look like they're making their World Cup. This group was also really interesting. There was a crazy game here between Belgium and Wales. I mean, Belgium smacked Wales in the first half. They were 3-0 up after 27 minutes, and then completely bottled it, and it went to 3-3. But then in the 88th minute, De Bruyne came up with a goal late on. Belgium just about get the job done, but fair play Wales. I think they've done some really good things under Craig Bellamy. And yeah, Belgium, after drawing to North Macedonia, which was a pretty poor result, get a win there. But this group is really up in the balance. I mean, North Macedonia, don't rule them out entirely. Wales and Belgium, it's really a three-horse race right now. It could be any of these guys. And yeah, we've obviously spoken about England. And this group as well, Croatia, I mean, made a statement. They absolutely obliterated Czechia here, 5-1. 5-1. Absolutely insane. Luka Modric and Ivan Perisic rolling back the years. I mean, these two, absolutely fantastic performance by those two. And Croatia with a emphatic win. Who, I mean, Czechia are meant to be like their closest contenders. It looks like Croatia will be going to the next World Cup again. Right, so that was Europe. Now we're just going to go around the world briefly, because a couple of nations did secure their spots in the next World Cup, and I want to talk about that now. We'll just go here. Okay, so we'll go to Asia, where the third round has concluded, and here are the final table. So Iran and Uzbekistan will be going to the World Cup. Uzbekistan, their first ever World Cup, which is a fantastic achievement for them. And even though I don't like the new format in terms of the expanded teams at the World Cup, it is nice because it does allow teams like Uzbekistan a chance to get into the World Cup and get their first ever World Cup appearance, which is a nice sight to see. South Korea are also there, and Jordan, again like Uzbekistan, will be making their first appearance at a World Cup, which is really cool to see. Japan and Australia, two teams who, we're accustomed to, will be at the World Cup as well. And then I believe third and fourth will go into a playoff round, so one of UAE, Qatar, Iraq, Oman, Saudi Arabia or Indonesia will be making the World Cup. And I mean, it would be really cool to see any of these besides maybe Saudi. None of these sides have been at a World Cup in a while, and Qatar. But yeah, nice to see some different teams going to the World Cup. If we go to CONMEBOL, South America, so Argentina and Ecuador are confirmed. Brazil are confirmed after their first win under Carlo Ancelotti. Carlo Ancelotti, of course, the new Brazil manager. They got a win against Paraguay, Vinicius Jr. with a goal. And yeah, we'll see how Carlo Ancelotti does. See, Brazil, kind of like Italy, have been in a bit of a dark place in the last couple of years, but let's see if he can rebuild them and see what he does on the international stage. But yeah, Brazil will be at the next World Cup, of course. Uruguay are pretty much there. Paraguay as well are also there as well, which is nice to see because they haven't been at the last couple World Cups. Now the other spot, Colombia, I don't think it's confirmed, but they are pretty much there. The other spot though is really close between Venezuela and Bolivia, because Bolivia managed to beat Chile 2-0. So Bolivia and Venezuela in the next round of international fixtures are going to have a shootout to get into the 7th spot, but Peru and Chile will not be making the World Cup. Okay, and finally there were some friendlies as well, which I wanted to talk about, particularly for the US, because the hosts enter this in some really bad state. They lost 2-1 to Turkey, which, is not like the most embarrassing thing, but then they were picked apart 4-0 by Switzerland. It's crazy. Now, to be fair, most of their big hitters are missing, and it's take it with a grain of salt, but still, to lose 4-0 against Switzerland, lose to Turkey, it's not good. Pochettino has not had a good spell in charge of the US men's national team, and they are going into this World Cup and going into the Gold Cup, which is like the CONCACAF Euros, in some really bad form, and they are not looking good right now at all. But let's have a look. There was quite a few sort of like interesting friendlies as well that occurred. Like Canada played Ivory Coast 0-0. Mexico managed to beat Turkey. Mexico are doing pretty well actually recently. What else do we have here? Like Ukraine beat New Zealand 2-1. Greece won 4-0. Sweden and Algeria played a banger, 4-3 Sweden. Russia smoked Belarus 4-1. We've got Scotland beat Liechtenstein 4-0. Canada beat Ukraine 4-2. Switzerland beat Mexico 4-2 as well. So Switzerland sort of beat down all of the North American nations. New Zealand actually beat Ivory Coast, which is a pretty big result for New Zealand, who will be at the next World Cup. Georgia drew to Cape Verde as well. But I think that's like mainly all of the interesting. Russia drew to Nigeria as well, very random friendly. But yeah, that was pretty much everything that happened on the international break. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did enjoy, please do leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see